Did you know you could buy an entire house on Amazon? Yep, I mean, you can literally take it, click the button, put it in your cart, and have it sent anywhere you want it to go. And today, we're going to take a few minutes, we're going to talk about what it's really like to buy or own one of these homes. What do they cost? What does it take to get one onto a property? What is it really like to buy a home on Amazon.com? Let's take a look. You know, I often see viral posts out there about buying homes on Amazon. And oftentimes they talk about buying a dream home for $20,000. Well, today we're going to take a look at what does it really take to get these done. Could you put one up in a weekend? Quite possibly. So today we're breaking down the truth about what it takes to buy a prefabbed home off of Amazon.com. And we want to know, will it work here in West Michigan? Let's start with number one. What are these homes for sale on Amazon? Well, a lot of them are small house kits. They come pre-packaged, pre-measured, ready to go with a lot of the standard features that you're going to see in these ads. And you're expected to assemble these things on site as they come in the package. Now, think of it this way. It's almost like IKEA meets building. You're really putting together something according to the instructions that should lead to this 500 to 700 square foot tiny home. Some of these are meant as full-on homes. Some of them are meant as like backyard escape places, all those different things that you might be able to do, whether it's an outside office or really something that might be more available in our area for 3 seasons of the year. Second thing we're going to take a look at today is the price tag. As I spent some time looking at these things, I found that they range anywhere from $9,000 all the way up to $50,000 to $60,000, depending on the model. A lot of that really comes into size as we start to break it down. But one of the things that we want to be aware of is that you still need to be able to have utilities and oftentimes a foundation for a lot of these homes. While many come as a complete shell with some roofing, exterior siding, windows, doors, those types of things, a lot of them have absolutely no interior finish. So you would have to put up paneling or drywall, and many don't come with a lot of fixtures. Are you looking for the lighting that you're interested in, or are you looking for countertops and cabinets that might be to your preference? A lot of them don't even come with the countertops and cabinets in these kits. You really have to go through piece by piece. One of the other things that we've been paying attention to is wiring. A lot of the wiring in these is more comparable to that which you would find in an RV or a travel trailer. Many of the interior features, when they do come with the house, are also very, very similar. One of the things that you definitely want to keep in mind is you still need land, utilities, septic, all the different things that come along with it. If you want your sink to work, you're either going to need a well or some type of city connection. So when people look at a $9,000 house from Amazon, it's really only part of the story. Number 3, the question I get a lot, can you really live in one of these things? Well, here in West Michigan, a lot of times right out of the gate, the answer is no. In most West Michigan townships, you can't just plop one of these down and get started living in it. You have to start to look at some of the zoning laws. And many of these areas have a minimum square footage of what's considered to be a dwelling on a property. Obviously, the other part that we have to look at to meet code in a lot of our cities and townships is the foundation. And oftentimes the foundation for a 500 square foot home will exceed the entire cost of the home kit itself. So having a strong foundation is definitely one that meets code, is definitely something that's going to be important to these township zoning boards. The other thing is oftentimes the townships and the cities have a minimum square footage. Now from my research, that looks like 600 square foot in a lot of different places. So if this tiny home that you're looking at ordering online is bigger than 600 square foot, with the rest of the work along with it, you very well might be able to put it on your piece of land here in West Michigan. So while they may look like affordable housing online, there is a lot more money that is going to go into it versus the base price. Number one, the cost of the land it's going to be on, obviously a gigantic factor. Number two, getting the utilities and the foundations in can absolutely be another giant chunk of the cost. Number three, finishing the interior. And one more thing to mention is so many of our townships have a minimum R rating for the insulation, and yet many of these tiny homes do not have very much insulation, if any at all. This could be absolutely a factor in getting a certificate of occupancy in a lot of Michigan townships. Number four, what are the pros of these types of housing? Well, without a doubt, number one, the cost of the structure is one of these pros. They're oftentimes very affordable for what you're getting when it starts to come to the cost of the structure of these. One of the other giant pros, they can be extremely quick to put up. If your foundation and utilities are ready, many times they can be put up in a single day, sometimes even two with some of the bigger models. One of the other pros that we should look at, they can be very, very eco-friendly, with oftentimes having a small amount of material that actually goes with these. You can see that they can be. Now, when it comes to heat loss, maybe not so eco-friendly, but when it comes to the actual materials built in, that can actually have an advantage. One of the other pros is these can be a great option for cabins, for small guest rooms or houses, for places to build in the back. Maybe you have a work from home situation and not the room, or you've got kids in the house. They can be great alternatives. The other thing that a lot of them talk about is the ability to use one as an Airbnb, having a separate location on your piece of property. This is one where you definitely want to go ahead and check the zoning in your area for this type of use. So often right now, especially in West Michigan, the laws are really getting less Airbnb friendly, or a lot of places have gone to a limited license. So just because you bought one and build it in your area doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to rent it as an Airbnb. This is one where you want to definitely do your research first. Number five, let's talk about some of the cons. Con number one, most of these kits do not include electrical, heating, cooling, and ventilation, or insulation. So many of these are going to require something different in order to get them going. And a lot of times they're going to require a licensed contractor. The other con that we want to start to look at in this situation, you're going to need a building permit to put one of these up. It's not something you can just put up whenever you want, especially if someone is going to be staying in it. In this case, you're definitely going to want to look at what are the local rules around building tiny houses or secondary houses on the same piece of property. The other piece we have to look at here, sometimes financing can be tricky. A lot of times these are not going to qualify for a mortgage, and so you are going to have to either pay cash as you go forward into purchasing the property, but also for the foundation, for the utilities, and all those things as well. Or you're going to have to look at a non-secured line of credit in order to make it happen if you're not able to go ahead and self-finance one of these projects. And last but not least, in this category of cons, resale can be limited. While these are oftentimes great solutions for certain uses, resale can be a tough sell. Number one, because of the size, and number two, because of oftentimes a lesser amount of quality. Just like some people might think of IKEA as cheaper furniture, this is how a lot of people might also go ahead and view this type of prefabricated housing. Number six, we want to look at this real question at the end of the day. Are they worth it? Well, if you are somebody who's really handy or has the idea of how to go ahead and get past some of the limitations, for you, they absolutely might be. However, if you're looking for a quick solution, the reality is sometimes you can end up in more money in these type of things than you could be in a prefab house, or oftentimes a trailer style or mobile home that might fit the same needs. In each case, we're going to have to really look at your unique situation in order to figure out if it is or isn't worth it in the long run. As a realtor here in West Michigan, I've looked into these a lot for clients that are looking to go off-grid or even looking for affordable solutions. And I would say without a doubt, there are pros and cons. It really ultimately is going to come down to your unique individual situation, whether or not one of these makes sense for you. So could you buy a home on Amazon today? Well, technically yes, but the key in this is absolutely in the research. If you want to explore affordable or different types of housing here in West Michigan, reach out to me. My contact information is in the description below, and I specialize in helping people find the right home for their stage of life. I'll see you guys on the next video.